Hi there. Today's topic is the AGOA agreement, which is the African Growth and Opportunity Act, if you like. It's an agreement that's been signed about 24 years ago between the US and South Africa, and is really there to stimulate growth. And obviously, those of you who follow me and follow our channels and our Substacks and everything else know that we've got two areas that we really focus on. One mainly is the job market, okay, and the impact that certain decisions have on that job market. And because we're very focused on the legal side of the industry as well, we like to look at what impact decisions are having on potential job markets, industries, and therefore how it will affect our law firm clients from a revenue perspective, from a client perspective, and therefore the knock-on effect of that will be remuneration and jobs. So what is the AGOA Act? The AGOA Act is quite simple. As I say, it's the African Growth and Opportunity Act. It provides significant trade benefits for South Africa since it was first enacted in 2000. Okay, three key areas that have that are really impacted, I suppose, or it's industries that are impacted by AGOA is the automotive industry. Major automakers like BMW and Ford and Nissan, they all and Mercedes, they all have manufacturing plants in South Africa, and they export duty-free to the US from here. Second is agriculture. South African agricultural exports can be wine, citrus fruits, nuts, vegetables, some of the finest climate in the world here, the best soil. It's a massive market to the for export. And then thirdly is the textiles and apparel industry, which is worth in excess of $1 billion a year to the South African companies and to the economy as well. So what happened? Well, let's share the screen and have a little look. Last week, the back end of last week, was a particularly interesting time because the foreign minister, Naledi Pandor, basically this was written in the stars, wasn't it? Let's be honest. The news broke that the Americans are not particularly happy with South Africa bringing in the ICJ court case against what's happening in Gaza. And this is not a political discussion. I think we all know where we stand on war and bombing. But there was obviously, from an economic perspective, there's always a bit of flexing, and I think it was kind of inevitable that the Americans would act. So what they did is they have brought a bill to Congress, which we're obviously all hoping here in South Africa doesn't get reviewed, which was to completely review the AGOA Act and the relationship that the US has between it and South Africa. Now, suffice to say, if there's economic sanctions or economic issues between the US and Southern Africa, or the countries in Southern Africa, but South Africa in particular, then that is going to have a massively negative effect on businesses and jobs in this country, which is already under enormous strain with high unemployment and low tax revenue. So, yeah, look, the Americans said they're going to review it. Naledi Pandor says that she hopes that it doesn't reach, the floor, I suppose is the term the Americans use. And hopes that we continue to develop a good relationship. And I think we all hope that. However, this is going to roll and roll and roll. And I think we all hope that it's just a little bit of flexing from the US side. But, what's the impact? Well, the impact is potentially huge. So let me just share another screen with you. Here very quickly is this one. Okay. And what it says here is presented by my wonderful research team, is that which companies benefit from this agreement and how many people do they employ. So you can see very quickly there, BMW, 5,500 people in their plant, 50,000 units, Ford's 1,500, Mercedes 600, and the list goes on. That's just a small selection. In the agricultural world and agri-processing, you've got Cape Span, Nando's, and these are jobs that are assigned to the export to the US, obviously, and then you've got the Citadel Group in textiles and apparel, and this is literally just scratching the surface of those companies that would be affected or are certainly impacted by AGOA. Directly, the researchers found that up to 20,000 plus jobs are impacted by AGOA. Now, if the US decided to pull that agreement, these are the kinds of numbers that we're looking at. $2 billion in South African exports, $2 billion to the US, guys, is probably nothing. $2 billion to South Africa, 38 billion rand, is a huge amount of money. 60,000 jobs, many businesses that are in that value chain. And of course, then if you bring that back to what we were saying before about our law firm clients, many hundreds of law firms across South Africa benefit from this. They work with firms who are directly involved in this trade. It could be manufacturing, could be commercial, could be logistics, could be employment law, whatever it is. There's a lot of law firms that rely on this agreement, either directly or indirectly. And so if it were to go away, it would be a real problem. Now, what I would also like to show you is just a couple of charts and graphs. And I think it's for a little bit of context and a little bit of balance. If I just pull this up now, bear with me a second. Yeah, sorry, I can't seem to find it at the moment. Oh, there we go. Sorry about that, slight delay. Okay, so I think what we'll do is we'll do this here. I think what we can see here is South Africa's total GDP against total exports in South Africa for the last few years. It's a significant amount, obviously. You know, and I know that obviously that export number in the hundreds of billions is not totally and utterly because of AGOA. It's, you know, South Africa's wonderful products and services are exported all over the world, but any impact on exports is going to have an impact on the economy here. But I think more than financial, it's the subtleties of what would do if the Americans were to review AGOA or even to pull it entirely, because it will be those jobs. Certainly up north in the manufacturing part of the country where those plants are, the law firms that work with these companies, all those small little mom and pop businesses, as they call them, that are part of that value chain. It's going to affect things massively. And so we will be watching this situation with AGOA very, very carefully. I don't know at this stage which law firms work within these particular businesses that would be affected directly. We've been doing some research on it and we can't really find the data at the moment, but we will find it. And because it, you know, any downturn will have a negative impact. So we obviously want to see more deals being done, more trade being done, et cetera, et cetera. So anyway, we're going to watch this space. We're going to watch it very carefully. We're going to watch the headlines coming through about AGOA and what's happening on the floor in the Congress. And hopefully it soon gets rectified and not to the detriment of South African businesses, South African people, their jobs, and the law firm clients that we work with who will work within that sphere. Have a great day.